It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Tuesday, September 9th, with your hosts, me, Ray, here in Ventnor, and, well, Zach, down in Washington, D.C. How are you today, handsome?
I don't understand you, but I'm good, man. Happy Tuesday, September 9th. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of today's CarEdge Live. We've got a sponsor for today's show, but before we talk about them, I want to remind everyone, Pops, just go to the Google machine, type in CarEdge window stickers, or click the link in the top of the description. And a friendly reminder, you can get the window sticker for nearly any vehicle for free back on CarEdge.com. It's really that simple. Check it out, folks, back at CarEdge.com, or like I said, go to the Google machine and type in CarEdge window sticker and it'll pop right up. We're going to thank our friends over at DeleteMe in about 8 minutes. But Pops, the big story this morning, yet another recall for the manufacturer, leading the league in recalls. We look at this chart that comes from National Highway Transportation Safety Administration all the freaking time, and the red section here is Ford, up to 110 recalls. The latest one, Dad, impacting not a million, not a million point one, not a million point two, not a million, 1.5 million vehicles being recalled right now by Ford. We are up to, I downloaded all the data. Put it into this column right here. We are up to, Dad, summon that up, 886 vehicles recalled by Ford so far this year on a quest to recall over 10 million vehicles. Let's start here. Another 1.5 million vehicles recalled. What is going on?
Well, here's what's interesting. You put in today's headline of the show, the ugly truth about Ford shocked the auto industry. Well, for Ford, it's just really another day. Okay, there ain't nothing shocking about Ford at this point. It's like, well, it's Tuesday, let's have a recall. It's Wednesday, let's have a recall. It is not shocking to the industry anymore. It's not shocking to Ford. It's not shocking to their customers. It has become almost a daily expectation as to, well, what's the problem now that I have to take my car into the dealership for? It's almost like beyond parody. Because I think if you go back to that pie chart, my guess is that if you added up all the other brands recalls, it might not add up to 110 for the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
And that's the staggering part. It's not that it's shocking anymore. It's just well, it's Tuesday.
This recall, for what it's worth, is one of the less serious ones. So I think that's like something to give Ford some credit here for a moment. They're only recalling the 1.5 million vehicles because the rear view camera can have issues, causing inverted, distorted, or blank images. Now, that being said, it is impacting 1.5 million vehicles, and these need to be inspected and replaced. This is not a software update. These are for 2015 to 2019 Lincoln MKCs, Lincoln Navigators, Mustangs, F-250s, F-350s, F-450s, F-550s, the Ford Expedition, the Edge, the Transit Connect, Ecoline, and Ranger. So on the bright side here, it's a camera issue. On the downside here, you have to actually inspect and replace all of these. You can't just do a software update.
So you can't say, well, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, that impacts 1.5 million owners.
Yeah, wow.
So you can't say, oh, it's just not that big of a deal. It's a safety recall, but it's only the backup camera. It might be blank. It could distort everything. Maybe there'll be a sign that says everything in this backup camera, it probably appears further away than it really is. I don't know. But for the 1.5 million people that have to take time out of their day one of these days to go to their local Ford dealership to wait around for the car to get pulled into the service department, for them to do the inspection, for them to figure out if they need to replace the camera. How much time is that wasting on that customer's behalf? 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours? You know me. I like to round up. Let's round up. It's like when you can always round up because it makes a much bigger number.
Sure.
But take 1.5 million customers who are going to have to invest probably somewhere around 6 hours, because they have to drive there. Then they have to wait for the damn car to get fixed. Then they have to drive back and pick up the car or drive home. So let's say it's 6 hours of time times 1.5 million. How many millions of hours of people's time is Ford wasting just on this recall? And that's not to say that after the people invest 6 hours for this recall, that a week later, on, say, a Wednesday, they get a notice that, well, there's something else that Ford needs to fix on their car and they need to bring it back.
Dad, you've got a funny comment here from DB. I own 3 Fords. If I don't get a recall twice a year, I feel ripped off. And Igor's got a really good comment here. I'm very interested in your take on this.
Yes.
It's a great day for Ford dealerships. Recalls mean money for the dealers that do the service work. So talk to me about this, Dad. Are the dealers actually happy with that they see these recalls coming up?
Well, yes. And the reason they're happy is, there's one. Well, what was the total number? It was
9.3 million vehicles so far this year have been recalled.
So there's 9.3 million service opportunities that should come into service departments hopefully this year. Ford is going to pay the service department to do the inspections and do the repairs, even though the labor rate and the times that they pay for warranty repairs like this or recall repairs like this aren't the same rate as, say, customer pay. It's still found money for the service department. So yeah, service managers love it. Okay, salespeople, if they're smart, could figure out how to love it, because Ford is creating, at least with this last recall, 1.5 million opportunities for a salesperson to have a customer. Okay, because that service customer has to come into the dealership and they have to drop off the car. And there's an opportunity there for a salesperson to latch on to one of those service customers and say, hey, have you ever thought about maybe trading that car in and looking at something newer? What if I could show you a way to get out of that dog that you have, and we could put you into a new dog? It should be good ultimately, not only for parts and service, because it definitely will be good for them, but if the sales staff at these dealerships plays it right, it could increase sales because you're bringing in Ford customers to your dealership. Well, why not try and sell them a new one?
Yeah, so it's got 2 benefits. One is, obviously, Ford pays for these recalls. This is a service order, like you were describing, Dad, or a repair order, and there's going to be 9.3 million of them this year if everyone who's had a recalled vehicle takes it in and actually gets the recall addressed.
Yes.
I think that's one of the issues here is, do people actually get the recalls fixed? In some cases, more than others. But that being said, there's 9.3 million repair orders that can be written this year that are recalls that Ford pays for. And last time I checked, Dad, Ford is spending a lot of money on those warranty costs and on these recalls. So we know, this was an article from last year, Ford to appoint new head of quality to try and rein in warranty costs. They've been challenged with that.
Yeah, that's worked out really well.
So that's one aspect. That's the other aspect is, to your point, then you have a customer near the dealership, at the dealership, in the service drive, and so they can try and sell you a new car. I don't know if I'm a Ford customer and I'm getting all these recalls. I don't know how likely I would be to buy another Ford, but there you go. At least it's an opportunity for the dealership.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but it does create fresh sales opportunities, and it is just a godsend for parts and service.
I want to switch gears here in just a moment, but before we do, want to thank the godsend of this channel, our friends over at DeleteMe. Dad, you and I both know that data brokers are out there selling our information online, and anyone can buy it. Things like your phone number, social security number, home address, and so much more are sold online, and they're available to marketers, scammers, and everyone.
Anybody, you, me, everyone in between.
There it is, in between. You're looking at my DeleteMe dashboard, folks. Here at DeleteMe, they help you take control over your data. DeleteMe removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers on your behalf. You can see 197 different data brokers have been identified for me after reviewing over 42,212 listings that had my information, which is absolutely nuts. You can take advantage of a 20% off coupon. Just use the code CarEdge at checkout, or click the link in the top of the description, joindeleteme.com/CarEdge. We thank DeleteMe for their continued sponsorship of this channel, and obviously we use their products. We really, really like it. Okay, so we have the recalls going on over at Ford, Dad. That's the big story this morning. Susanna wants to know, does the liability insurance cover that for Ford, or is that out of pocket for them? This is out of pocket for them. This is one of their biggest cost centers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they took, what was it, a $570 million write down or cost adjustment in the last quarter due to excessive recall repairs and warranty repairs that needed to be done. The bean counters, the actuaries look at the warranty, and they can figure out over the course of time approximately what it's going to cost Ford per every new vehicle sold. And I believe it was it was either the second quarter or the third quarter, they were only off by $570 million. Okay, that's a lot of scratch. I don't know any other way to say it. That's just a lot of money. And yes, you can factor it in, but they have not been factoring in anywhere near enough money for warranty repairs and recalls. And even though their bottom line numbers are still good, if you're an investor, you have to say to yourself, well, there's probably $1 billion a year that's taken away from potential profit because we just don't build a quality vehicle to start with.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But let's switch gears, Pops. Let's get away from Ford. Let's talk about the car market. There was a really interesting story that the team over at Car Dealership Guy is covering. Did you see this? That Tricolor Auto is filing for bankruptcy, sources say. This is a really large independent used car dealership group. They're in many states. I think they say here in the article, I think they're like the 7th largest independent. Yeah, there it is right there. Tricolor Auto Group is the 7th largest independent used car retailing chain in the U.S. And they're expected to file for bankruptcy today, according to an internal source close to the company's situation. They laid off 80 to 90% of their workforce in Texas, Arizona, and California, suspending operations as well. It seems like, Dad, some of the conversations you and I have been having about how things in the car market are not healthy at the moment. We're seeing that here with this 7th largest independent used car dealership group going out of business.
That's I did not see that article, and that's pretty unnerving to a certain degree. But then again, with the name of Tricolor Auto, it's like, well, why do I want to go and buy a car that's 3 different colors or 3 different shades of the same color? It just, I just the name itself doesn't inspire, in my mind, confidence. Why do they call them Tricolor Autos? Are they several different shades of brown? Or I'm sorry, you know me. I can make.
I'll let you go full screen. Here, how much?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
There's something interesting here. You want to go 3 color? Go 3 color. Here it is.
I was just trying to make a little bit of a joke. That's all.
3 colors, Tricolor.
Yeah, there you have it. Tricolor. I'm done. I told you I'm done.
No, come on. You got at least 30 seconds.
No, I did it. I'm not buying a car that's 3 shades of gray. Okay, maybe if it was 50 shades of gray, but not 3 shades of gray. Okay.
Why would an independent car dealership group be going out of business right now, Dad? I thought the car business was great. Money galore. Everything's perfect. Why would something like this be happening?
Well, because the cost of buying used cars has gone up. and it's harder to get people financed for cars. And there are two quality issues. The quality of used cars has gone down dramatically. And in many cases, the quality of the credit for the people who are trying to buy the lower quality used cars is equally down. And so it's more difficult for some of the types of customers that an organization like Tricolor Auto would appeal to. So unless you have your own bank, kind of sort of like Carvana seems to, or CarMax seems to, because we know at CarMax or Carvana, in order to qualify for a loan through them, you have to have an income of $5,000 a year.
Yep.
Less than 100 a week, ladies and gentlemen. So, but that's because they're packaging all their loans, because realistically, when you look at Carvana, they are a loan originator, and the vehicles that they use to originate loans just happen to be automobiles.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they've been able to get away with it. Tricolor, isn't selling in large enough volumes, or doesn't have a large enough finance arm that they can get away with it. So it's the quality of the cars, the expense of used cars today. And when you are a purveyor of some of not the nicest cars out there, you typically attract a customer base that is credit challenged, to put it nicely.
It makes me wonder a little bit about the floor plan situation at this dealership group as well. I mean, if they've got these cars just sitting, we've talked about it ad nauseum for years now. The longer a car sits, the more expensive it is for the dealership group. They don't have customers who are buying these, potentially more subprime customers, potentially more affordable vehicles, but to your point, not high quality. Then they're just sitting there. And then Tricolor, the dealer, is the one paying all that interest to have the privilege of letting those vehicles sit there. Eventually, the bank's going to repossess those vehicles if you don't make payments on them. And obviously laying off 80 to 90% of your staff and all the things that go into going bankrupt, which is a lot of work, I imagine. I mean, there's some serious expenses there that they've now had to cut 80, 90% of staff just to maybe try and hold on. But they go bankrupt at, the bank's going to repossess the vehicles. They're going to end up at auction. It's not a good sign for the health of the auto industry to see a group like this go under.
We've had a number of major retail used car dealer groups go under. This is not the first, nor will it be the last. There have been others, and if you really look closely at the ones that have gone out of business, that have gone bankrupt or just closed, there's one common thread.
What's that?
Subprime customers. That's the common thread. They have built a business that is based upon selling to people with bad credit. Well, at a certain point, many of their lenders, because they don't have their own finance company, many of their lenders have just looked at the quality of the customers that they keep submitting for car loans, and they're going, no, even we won't touch this.
Yeah.
And that becomes the issue for them. So that's the one commonality that all of these major used car retailers or regionalized used car retailers have in common. They all cater to the same group of customers, and that is people with bad credit. And yes, you can get away with that for a while. Obviously, in many, many cases, you can't. And this is just another example of you can't.
It'll be interesting, Dad. We track Credit Acceptance Corporation, for example, their quarterly earnings, and they've had to increase their loan loss provisions significantly because they anticipate fewer and fewer of those auto loans that they made over the past few years are actually going to get paid back in full. So I wonder if this will show up. Obviously, it's showing up with some of the independent dealership groups. I wonder if it'll show up at the financing level as well. Another angle to the auto industry in turmoil, Dad, and it's not the most convenient or easy to follow, but we can connect the dots here. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this. Cox Automotive acquires full stake in a wholesale vehicle inspection partner, but look who they bought it from. Nissan.
They bought it from NEMAC. Nissan
But
Motors Acceptance
this
Corporation.
is so interesting. So Cox Automotive bought an inspection business, essentially. They owned half of it. Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation owned the other half. Nissan, Dad, liquidating another asset to try and get some cash on hand.
Well, that's really what it says.
That's what
Okay,
this
to
says,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Cox is going to own 100% of it. My guess is that they didn't buy their remaining 50% stake at a premium. Okay, my guess is that Nissan offered them a good deal. Do us a favor, take this off our hands. Wouldn't you really feel better if you owned 100% of it?
Isn't this
We know
fascinating,
we
though?
would.
Think about it, Dad. Like, Nissan is in financial turmoil. We've said this for a long time. They're closing down manufacturing plants globally. We've been documenting their challenges for about a year now. And especially this got kind of doom and gloom when they had talks, excuse me, about a potential merger with Honda, and Honda walked away from the table. Ever since then, things have looked pretty dire over at Nissan. They've sold off stakes in other automakers, and now they're selling off stakes in an inspection business that they owned. It's just fascinating. Like, the story here for our audience is not the fact that Cox now owns 100% of an inspection business. Who cares? Who cares? The story is Nissan is struggling to find cash, and they're selling off their assets to try and fund their operation. So interesting.
It's harder. It is harder to bring the new vehicles to market that Nissan needs to survive when you don't have the money to do it. So, in order to bring those, I think they have like 26 or 28 new vehicles or refreshes planned over the next couple of years. They have to raise the cash to do that, and so they're selling real estate holdings. They are putting their corporate headquarters, if they haven't already. They have spoken about putting their corporate headquarters in Tokyo on the market because they figure they can get a whole lot of money for that. They are selling as many things as they possibly can in order to raise enough cash so that they can continue to move forward with all the new vehicle launches that they hope will save their collective asses in a couple of years. But it takes cash to do that. And they're liquidating things so they. It's like, wow, just go to a pawnbroker, for goodness sake.
It's a little bit what it feels like. Dad, let's do a little bit of a live experiment. So back on CarEdge.com, if you Google search car incentives and CarEdge, it'll take you to our best new car deals for September 2025 page, or you can just do this from the car search as well. I'm curious, Dad. So let me change my location really quickly. Let's go to 895. So that's here in Maryland. And now I want to do Nissan. And let's just do we'll do the Rogue. We'll start there and we'll look at, I don't know, the SL trim. I'm just curious what the incentives are right now over at Nissan for this particular vehicle. Let's scroll down here. $1,000 cash incentive. That's really not going to move the metal that much. Let's see on the finance side. No special financing. Lease, we're at 3.65%, which is good, but not great.
Yeah.
So, this is pretty interesting to me. I would expect more on the Rogue. What if we did something like, I don't know, which vehicle you want to do?
Maybe they can't afford to do more. I mean, that is part of their issue. It takes money to do this. Okay. And a year ago, the headline was Nissan has a 12 to 18 month runway of cash left. Okay, well, we're 12 months into that 12 to 18 months. So what does that translate into? It means that you don't necessarily have the financial wherewithal to do all the things that you need to do in order to move your stale vehicles that you have out there and to be able to develop and bring to market the new, fresher ones. So it's a conundrum for them, and which is why we're seeing them sell off as much stuff as they are.
I'm kind of curious. Now let's go over to the car search. Humor me for a moment here. And what I want to look at, Dad, is the available Nissan inventory. And I want to look by oldest. I'm just kind of curious. So we'll do days on market oldest. We're looking at new ones. There's probably going to be some anomalies here. So let me skip a couple pages ahead. Or you know what? Let me do the year filter here. So let's say it has to be a new 2025. So I want one. We'll go to 2024. Let's see. 700 days, 700 days, 700 days. So, I mean, Dad, there are some of these vehicles
Yes.
that Nissan's had out there. Pathfinder. I mean, look at this, 15,000 miles on it. Like the dealership just gave up and put it in service loaner fleet. There are just a lot of these vehicles that Nissan hasn't been able to sell.
Yeah, and 700 days. So some of them are getting very, very excited about celebrating their second birthday on the dealer's lot. That's not good for the customer. That's not good for the dealer. I mean, we have talked about lot rot for years, that as vehicles sit, they break down. Okay. If you have vehicles that have been on the lot for 700 days, and they don't get moved or driven often, then every one of the tires is going to be flat spotted. So all of a sudden you have to invest another $800 to $1,000 in tires. What other issues might develop? There's any number of things that could happen. My goodness, you're probably going to have to detail it for the third or fourth time to make it look presentable. So it is so costly for the dealership, and it is such a struggle for the customer, because the customer is going to expect a really, really, really good deal.
Yeah.
And the dealership sales manager's looking at it, well, if I sell it for what the customer's willing to pay for it, then I am paying the owner to have come to work today instead of him paying me, because it's going to be a negative profit deal. Yeah. And so sales managers many times will say to themselves, I ain't willing to take that loss. Now, the dealer might be, but the sales manager isn't, and he's passing on the deal. And so it just gets ugly for both the dealer and the customer.
Dad, look at this. I just filtered to 2025, 2026, oldest days on lot. Nissan Leaf, 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 Nissan Leaf. Oh man, it's a tongue twister. They're all Nissan Leafs.
Well, at one time the Leaf was a desirable electric car, but that was at one time. It's not at this time.
And think about it. We have the tax credits coming to an end shortly here. I mean, if you can't sell these Leafs now,
you ain't never going to sell them.
Yeah, I was about to say, you ever selling them? Like, let's come down here. I want to look at incentives.
Have to go quick because I have to get off. I have a Uber to catch.
0% financing for 36 months. Like, this is the one that they're pushing, but they still can't sell it. All right, you've got an Uber to catch. You're coming to Washington, D.C. We'll call it a show for today. If we can help you out with anything, folks, CarEdge.com. Like I said at the outset as well, if you're not using our free window sticker tool, you need to. Just Google search CarEdge window sticker, and it'll pop right up. Dad, safe travels here to D.C. this afternoon. I can't wait to spend tomorrow with you. And, we'll be back then.
Yeah, absolutely. See you all back tomorrow in our nation's capital, Washington. The hell with it. We'll see you from Washington tomorrow at noon Eastern.